Hiya, Honest Discussioner here. Now that my channel's off the ground, I've come out of the closet and I can actually speak to you plainly. I'm going to start making actually videos that are about arguments as opposed to just, random pictures and all of that stuff and things about me and different debates. Now, this is a bit of an old topic, but I've been meaning to make this video for a while, and this is on atheist morality, on whether or not morality exists without God, or whether or not atheists have an intrinsic moral value, as theist Meg Killer 2 like to put it. I'll let Meg speak for himself.
Problem is, there are moral and ethical duties. For instance, you ought not kill your neighbor, or you ought not rape your neighbor, or you ought not commit genocide, or you ought not slaughter the Canaanites. The problem here is, my problem is that it's very hard. I say hard. I don't say impossible, because I haven't seen every single counter-argument to the argument for morality. But it's very hard to say that to explain the existence of objective moral values within a naturalistic worldview. However, another really, really big problem with Sam Harris's and Rabbit Ape's argument is that Sam Harris seems to assume that humans have some sort of moral intrinsic value to them. And my contention, and along with William Craig's contention, is that within naturalism, you cannot say, there's no basis by which we can say that humans have intrinsic moral value. So it's very hard to say that it is objectively wrong to inflict suffering, because you cannot prove that humans have any sort of intrinsic moral value.
So basically what the theist is trying to say here is two different things. First, without God there can be no objective moral reasoning. We can't say for certain whether or not killing is wrong. How do you know killing is wrong? There's no God to tell you that it is. Well, anyway. The second part of this is that if God does exist, then atheists really don't have any objective moral value, because they aren't following God's reasoning. They are separate from God's reasoning, and therefore they don't really have any intrinsic moral value. Now, let's tackle the first thing here. The fact that if there is no God, there is no morality. Therefore, there must be God. That's really not an argument. That's an argument from emotion. I want there to be morality, and if there's no God, there can't be morality, so therefore there must be God. This is a very fallacious argument. Certainly having a loving creator would be the most ideal situation possible. It'd be pretty easy. Do this, this, and this. You don't have to question it. I understand that might be ideal. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it true. It would be really ideal if there was no corruption in government and government was always honest. So wait a minute. How can you claim that there's corruption in government? You don't want a corrupt government, do you? So you can't believe in one. There doesn't have to be morals. Now, I believe there are, but saying that there has to be morals because there's God is not a very good argument, I'm sorry. It's kind of like saying that there has to be a Quidditch champion, because if there's no Quidditch champion, there can't be a Quidditch league, and then we wouldn't know who's the best Quidditch player, would we? So let's talk about Meg Killer 2's fancy argument, as he put it on John L. Armstrong's channel, that naturalism has no way to say that humans have objective intrinsic moral value. So let's talk about this objective moral value, or objective morality. Dictionary.com defines objective as something that one's efforts or actions are intended to attain or accomplish. Purpose, goal, target. Or also, not influenced by personal feelings, interpretations, or prejudice based on facts, unbiased. Now, dictionary.com also defines morality as of pertaining to or concerned with the principles or rules of right conduct or the distinction between right and wrong. Ethical. Now, there are other definitions that will basically mean the same thing. But anyway, we have to define what right is then, because that is kind of the basis of the argument. How do we know what's right and wrong? Now, dictionary defines the concept of right as in accordance with what is good, proper, or just. So what's good? All right, I'm going to spare you the dictionary.com definition on there. Let's go with beneficial. Good can be a little bit hard to pin down, but I don't think anyone's going to really go against the word beneficial. What is beneficial for us individually and as a species? Let's go with that. Therefore, I'm a bit confused by what Mig Killer 2 is saying that Sam Harris can't show that we have objective moral reasoning. I think we can easily pin down what is beneficial for our species. I think that is something that we can show through actual observation, gathering of data, the studies, basically what science has been trying to do all along. Now, where did this drive come from, this drive to understand what's right and wrong? Well, I would argue, and I think even Mig Killer 2 touched on it in his video, that it comes from evolution. Now, he would say that it has this whole herd mentality of having moral reasoning, in that we have these moral feelings, but we don't really that doesn't explain where we get our moral duties, where we get our moral duty to not kill or to not steal or to not rape. Now, I'm pretty sure that can come from evolution as well. Actually, I would call it the very essence of evolution. See, we can show why it is bad to murder and to steal and to rape, because it's bad for society. A society that is able to have people going around murdering anyone they want, whenever they want, for whatever reason, is going to be a society in chaos. See, it's not the species that is the strongest that survives in evolution, it's the species that's the fittest, which is why it's a very fallacious argument to say that evolution is going to lead to things like the Holocaust. The Holocaust and Hitler were not following tenets of evolution when they were slaughtering people at random because they weren't good enough. That is way against evolution. Evolution says it's the fittest that survives. Not just the fittest individual, but the fittest species and group. It was not beneficial for our species to go murdering 9 million people for really no good reason besides that they were different. That's where it comes from. That's where stuff like genocide comes from. Not from evolution, not from survival of the fittest. It comes from our own human bigotry of not liking things that are different and just wanting to get rid of them. It comes from our fear. Now, getting back on the topic of evolution, when we have an ability to understand what is beneficial for our species, like not killing, like not stealing, like raping is bad, that's how we can understand objective moral values.